Hey everybody, it is ElCid932 on YouTube. Thank you for joining me. This is Love is Blind UK Season 2, Episodes 7 and 8. Please make sure you do hit that like. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And if you feel like it, join the membership because we do weekly member lives and we have a whole lot of fun in there. So let's start off. Let's get to it. Let's get all the way into it. Episode 7 starts with telling us it is 14 days until the wedding. Megan and Kieran, they practice a boogie that they're going to do for the wedding. It is really cute. He shows her, I guess, his liquid hips that didn't look very liquid. Ashley and Billy are very quiet. Remember, they talked about that whole difference in diet. But she tells him she felt overwhelmed the way he talked about food. And she shared how at 13 she was a beanpole and she got bullied. And food was a positive light for her. And she doesn't want to feel guilty about having sweets and stuff like that. But she does feel guilty, and it's difficult to hear how he talks about food. He says so much of his life is structured, and, food for her is not controlled, but it is for him. But he will take the time to make her feel better about it. He is aware, and he wants to keep on trying. He will show her every day. That's pretty good, Billy, to hear, but we need to see in practice. We got to make sure you ain't sneaking them treats either. Bartha and Jed. Bartha, her friend Olivia is coming over. She calls her security guard. I was like, beware friends that are security guards, because that right there, real tricky. Is the friend really the person that put up boundaries around her, put walls around her? Is the friend messing up her relationships? I have questions. So she says, her friend Olivia is like a sister. And she said no cheers yet when Bartha offered, a toast. She came in already on fire. So the friend says she has seen Bartha when things don't work out. And is this just lust or love? And Jed said this is love. He talks about the pods, how they connected on their culture and their background. Olivia asked about an argument. They told her something minor and she was not buying it. Bartha said, hey, this has been easy and natural and she feels lucky. Olivia's like, I heard this all before and it didn't work out. You can't have that again. Is this too good to be true? But Bartha said, why can't it be, good and true? That is a question. And your friend has a legitimate question if you've done this before. But Olivia does want it to work out for her friend. But the red flag is there are no arguments so far. But she hopes Bartha stays happy. Sarova and Cal, okay. Sarova says her mom is struggling to understand the pods and the experiment. Sarova is the eldest, and the pressure to do everything right and normal for the family is what's on her. She said, how does she navigate the family and Cal? Cal said it's because, he's never met the mom has never met him, and the mom needs that to be reassured. But, the family should be there at their wedding to support no matter what. Sarova said she never had to stand up to her mom before. Sarova, that very difficult, very difficult. But she says her mom's fears are in a place of love. And Sarova feels like she's in a pressure cooker right now. The song says, you can count on me. Katisha and Javin, she likes his honesty. She thinks it's cute. And she doesn't even want to try football. They're at his house. They went to visit his house. And she thinks that they're in a good place. She can see him bringing her coffee. He said maybe. He has had the same blanket for years. This is a bachelor pad. The same blanket, I think, for multiple years. You don't want to change or do anything other than wash the blanket and put it back. So she said they need to manage expectations. She expects them to eat together. Some nights, he's like, what nights? What nights? What's the number? I need a number. So he says Monday to Thursday he works late and he's not even here. She said, hey, she can eat late, 9:30 to 10. He's like, he's in bed by 10. He said he comes home, he eats by 9:30, he showers and goes to bed. She's like, fine. But she's here too. You need to share your life with her, Javin. That is what she's saying. You need to share this life with her. She said in the pods he was holding back and she felt he was going to meet her halfway. They need to work on this. So he brings out, that he'll try, but he's not going to make a promise because his mom says a promise is a comfort to a fool. So he does not make any promises that he cannot keep. A promise is a comfort to a fool. I don't like that. What do you mean it's a comfort to a fool? A promise or your word should be a comfort to anyone because it is your word. I really don't like that saying it's a comfort to a fool. So it's foolish to believe in your promises? I need you to break that down further. But it sounds like he's finding a reason not to have dinner with her at night, at the home. Song is Could You Love? Megan and Kieran, they have high tea, okay? They're in another auditorium. And he's like, wait a minute, we got to call off the wedding because she puts a jam on first. It was cute. It was funny. They do talk that life does start at marriage. They're really enjoying, their time together. And he hopes that in the years to come that they don't really change, that they are the same people that they are now. Then he said every day is stronger and stronger. And, she asked, well, what about if we have ginger babies? He's like, bring it on. She's like, oh, if they have your dimples. They had a cute tea time together. Ashley and Billy, she meets his dad. He brought Ollie, his dog. And Ollie is at the table, y'all. They're sitting at the counter and Ollie is on his lap at the counter. I said, oh no, Ollie, your 4 paws need to be on the ground. Dad said he trusts his son. Not that he doesn't trust Ashley. He just doesn't know Ashley. But, he trusts the son to make the right decisions. And she said she came here for a husband. Billy says she's organized chaos, but he's organized. They have different food languages. He says, Dad said when Billy left, he said he'll be good as long as there are no cabin crew people there. Ashley, you heard that? That's the first sentiment he had, or the last sentiment before he left the family. Billy said the first 6 months, they won't be close because she still is on the contract. And, they would have communicated and they will work towards something better. Work towards her being land crew where she comes back home every day. Dad says he hopes this is it. Ashley's not worried because they have worked through it and discussed it. So at Javin's house, Katisha meets his mom and sister. They brought his cat Panther. And the sister's face dropped when he said he's engaged. The sister's like, are you ready? She said she's engaged and has been planning for 18 months. She is shocked. Javin is the baby of the family. And she asked, why should this work? How are y'all compatible? She wants specific answers. When they started he and hawing, well, we have the same kind of value. She's like, I need specifics. So Katisha said family values, close to family. Javin said they're very similar. The sister says, it's weird meeting your fiance now. This is real quick. You just jumped into the deep end. Now, Katisha's sitting with the sister. Katisha's like she needs a woman's insight. She's like, he is serious. He's really hard to read. He will smile come rain or shine. Even angry, he will smile. It's hard to gauge what he is thinking or feeling. So Katisha acknowledges he has not been 100% vulnerable. And the sister said he's been through a lot. His walls are high, but he has a huge heart and it will come out eventually. But he does not trust easily. Katisha wants to comfort him, but hey, he got to let her in. The song is Little Did I Know. We learn it's 13 days till the weddings. The couples are having a reunion with the other people from the pods. Okay, so let's break this down. Everybody there. Not everybody, but the main characters. So Kieran is talking to Javin, and Kieran said, he cannot marry someone he's not in love with. Javin said, what if you can spend the rest of your life with them, but you're not in love yet? Kieran says, I will ask, how can you spend the rest of your life with someone you're not in love with? Javin said, this is the position he's in. He does not feel like he is in love. Katisha comes over, y'all, and she's like, what are y'all talking about? They got real quiet. Real quiet. They're like, we talking about marriage and wedding stuff. It's a lot, right? That's what Kieran said. And Kieran said, he hopes that she's made her decision. She's like, yeah, it's not hard. I've made my decision. I was like, ooh, Katisha, you have made your decision. You're saying you're a yes. Meanwhile, the man is over here saying, I don't know. Javin says he's not going to say I love you if he's not in love yet. But she sounds like she knows what she wants to do. Sarova shares with the girls that her mom's been a lot. It's Megan and Katisha sitting with her. She says, how can her daughter have a ring, turn and have a wedding, and she has not helped plan anything? Mama's never been like this, and she can't, drop Cal and just go home. She's putting her heart and her life on the line with Cal. She said the biggest test is saying that she is sure when her mom is not. Now, moving around, Cal is talking to Billy, and they talk about the challenges, and they both want their love and marriage to work out. Now, Patrick walks in, y'all, with a brown do-rag. The do-rag ain't even smooth, tight, or whatever, and his braids look like they are just sticking out. Patrick, that was not a good look at all. He said he felt friendship vibes with Anu, and, he's here to get married, not look for friends. So Anu walks in. She looked good. Everybody looked good, but Anu looked good. So River feel like she was blindsided by Patrick. Anu was blindsided. And, Anu hugs them all, but when she heard that's Patrick, she's like, ooh, about face. She did not hug Patrick. She said it is underwhelming seeing Patrick. Very underwhelming. And his spinal rectum talking, whatever. Girl, you had me falling over laughing. It is his spleen, girl. But when you said his spinal rectum talking, oh my gosh, Anu. So the girls, tell her, she has to see what he has to say. The last date was not kind or considerate, but she should hear him out. Javin wishes he dated Anu more when they get to chatting. Okay. Charlie walks in, then Yolanda. Anu catches Javin looking at Yolanda. She's like, what you looking at? Ross and Demola walk in. Javin does say he wants to catch up with Demola. He says, hey, the process is intense. They sit down together now. And, Demola said she had to make a decision, but to change it in 24 hours? Is that something you can risk on your wedding day? He said, you know what? It was a blessing in disguise for him because she's not the one for him then. He says this is how she's going to handle decisions, possibly in the future, being very sporadic. How do you tell your parents that she picked someone else 24 hours before? I was like, Demola, that's a dig. That's a dig. How do you, Javin, tell your family that she picked someone else and then picked you? That's a dig. Good one, though. But Demola says, hey, they'll never have a problem over this, And Javin say, hey, they're getting married. He needs to be serious. He needs to be locked in because they're signing documents. But Javin say, yeah, he ain't 100%. Then Sophie walks in. Kieran calls her hot and says she's an attractive girl. He said he would approach her and say hello at a bar outside. Sophie doesn't know how Meg let Kieran wear that jacket. Sophie started talking about Kieran. It's like, oh, what is that jacket? Megan clocked it, said these little comments are a dig at her, so she could just go and chuck it over her shoulder and carry on. Javin said, yeah, he would talk to Sophie at a bar. Someone's like, well, we at a bar? Yolanda asked Javin if he's happy and ready for marriage. She's like, are you vibing? Are you feeling it? Where are you? He just keeps on sipping his drink and doesn't say anything. Yolanda said, you've said enough. You said enough right there. Anu talks to Patrick and, Anu says she, felt like he did not give her the same respect that she gave him. He took the experience from her. Why not say you were not feeling me? He said, I did say it at the end. She's like, you're a liar. You're a liar. And she starts getting loud and starts singing it. He said, oh, it's nice to hear you sing. She's like, and you call yourself spiritual? He's like, hey, we were not meant to be. She's like, your headscarf don't even match your outfit. He's like, well, I thought it did. She said, it doesn't. So somebody whispers in the corner, like his spleen is probably about to burst. I hollered, his spleen's about to burst with the dressing down Anu is giving him. Patrick said, her behavior, was unique, but she has to be true to herself. But y'all, he looked ready to cuss her out. He was moving his mouth around and looked like he's sucking his teeth because he looked like he wanted to bust the spleen and cuss Anu out. That's how he looked. Even standing there when she was dressing him down, he looked furious. Kieran tells Megan that he needs to talk to Sophie, okay? He goes over there, he hugs Megan, he's like, hey, I need to have a chat with her. Very, very understanding. Kieran, you've been watching the show. Be respectful to your partner. Let her know what you're going to do ahead of time. Then you do it. Like that, Kieran. So he thanks Sophie for for her being a part of the experiment. She was a massive part of his process. He did apologize for how he handled the gift with Megan, okay, and how she felt about it. And she said, hey, she doesn't deal with rejection in real life. She's happy for them and wishes them the best. When they asked Sophie, well, hey, did you get closure with the conversation? She's like, he got closure. She's been over this situation. So Kieran said he's confused, okay? He goes over there, and I believe it was Ashley and Megan sitting there. He said, the pod Sophie is the Sophie he just got. The really, nice, charming Sophie. And Megan said, hey, I have seen different sides to her. She said it's hard because he's trusting Sophie and Sophie is playing in his face. Sophie is playing in his face. And she don't like people playing in her man's face. Sophie is clearly lying and showing her representative to Kieran. Sophie says he's not her type. She doesn't date blondes. She said Javin looks exactly as she thought, really good looking. She cannot see Katisha and Javin as a couple. Hope they work and find love, but it sounds really mean girl snippy. So Javin pulls up to her for a chat. And Javin said, he's always happy. She's like, that's a cop-out. Because she asked him, are you happy? He's like, I'm always happy. I'm always happy. She's like, did you make the right choice? He's like, there's still hurdles to overcome. And he asked her, are you dating? She said, no. He's like, nobody. She's like, what do you want from me? He's like, I want nothing from you right now. They were flirting back and forth. I'm sorry. That conversation, whether it was edited or not, it was too flirty. So Katisha said he meets her family tomorrow. And Sophie, can't see past herself and can't see what her antics are doing. I'm like, Katisha girl, Sophie ain't the only one with antics. Javin is too. She said, if you can take that man from me, then he wasn't mine. She is secure in her relationship because they are getting married. Sophie, and Javin feel like they have more to unpack. And she lets him know she lives 5 minutes up the road. The song is Welcome to the Bad Side. The last time we heard someone say they lived 5 minutes up the road was Catherine and Sam in the first season of Love is Blind UK. Katisha and Javin, they are home 1 hour later and they are eating at the table, but they're quiet. They're like a married couple giving each other the silent treatment. So she says, how was your chat with Sophie? You ain't fooling us, Katisha. He said it was interesting. She was funny. A good chat with Demola was had too. So she said she going to bed, and she kisses him and she goes to bed. He said he going out. He makes arrangements. He calls somebody. They're like, hey, we over here at this club. He's like, okay, I'm coming. He does go and say bye to her. I thought he was going to forget to say bye, but he does say bye. He grabs his jacket. She's crying on the bed. And the song we hear is Wish We Could Turn Back Time. Wish You Could Be Mine. And that is how episode 7 ends. And we start episode 8 with Billy pretending to be cabin crew. He is given the gestures while Ashley makes the announcement. Jed is getting waxed his chest by Bart Hall. 12 days until the wedding. Javin and Katisha, they meet her family. He to meet her family today. He is yawning. He said everyone from the mixer was there. She's like, you saw I was upset before you left. He's like, no, you should have expressed it. She says she's surprised he went out more that night because today is important to her. She didn't want him to look hangover or hungover to meet her family. He's like, do I look hungover? He's like, you have to trust me to not be hungover around your parents. She said she's never experienced him hungover, so she didn't know what to expect. He's like, do you really think I'd be stupid enough for that? You have nothing to fear. She doesn't know. So how would she have nothing to fear unless you reassure her? So Katisha said she has to know that he is not her past and to give him the benefit of the doubt and will trust him till he breaks her trust. But you got to tell him what he needs to do. Okay, Katisha? You can't just, let him think you want him to stay home. Kieran and Megan. Kieran supplies that, Javin showed up later on, and especially without his missus. Megan says Javin was cozy with the women, with Sophie, with Anu, and the girl said he was super flirty with them. He took Sophie into the photo booth. There was no reason to do that. Megan does want to speak to Katisha and let her know. And, Kieran says, you don't want to put Javin in a position, but you saw what you saw, and you wouldn't be a good friend unless you told her what you saw. The song they play is Take It Slow. Take it slow? It's slow enough. Sarova and Cal, she picks out his clothes to meet her mom and sister, and she said, hey, they didn't expect her to turn up with a fiance. Her mom has been sending her messages, and her, demeanor changes every time, but it's not a traditional way of doing things. And until her mom meets Cal, she won't be okay with it. Cal, y'all, is nervous. He said he has to meet the mom, so she knows how he communicates with Sarova, so she knows who he is. He's starting to doubt the relationship a little bit, but hey, if he has Sarova's approval, that should be good enough. He doesn't want to have to bend over backwards just to get their approval. But hey, this is the full experience of an Indian family, she tells him. This is an Indian girl. It comes with family, drama. It's a lot. So, hey, if you survive the pods, you can survive this. I like Sarova's support of him. Ashley and Billy meets his mom and sister. They have a wonderful time. Mom had cake out, and she said, Billy, the fruit is for you. The mom said the experiment is good for Billy, for him to bring down his walls, and she's confident that Ashley is what he needs. She said she can't wait for the wedding, and, Ashley says she cannot wait to make her mother-in-law. The sister does talk to Billy, and Billy said he's scared. Her job is a hurdle, and he doesn't want to live separately in his marriage. In his mind, it's more serious. It's harder to think about stability when her job is an issue. He doesn't know what he wants to do right now. Now, Katisha and Javin go to meet her family. The family is shocked. Her mom is shocked. The brother's the only one to say congratulations. But the kids are like, can we go on the trampoline? The mother says she's never been involved in her daughter's relationships, but she's never been engaged before. How long has he been looking for someone? He said 2 to 3 years. Javin, we never saw that. Okay, production never showed that. Mom says, look at her and her husband to show how Javin needs to treat Katisha. And he's like, how is that? She's like a queen. But if you make her happy, welcome to the family. The song is If You Did It Once. Sarova and Cal, they meet her mom and sister. He is nervous. When I tell you, I can feel the TV shaking with how nervous Cal is. Oh, my word. The mother asked, why did you choose her? Cal said, her accent, she excited him. He'd never dated someone with her kind of accent. They're both into fitness. Y'all, he is nervous. Cal is nervous. His words are just not coming out well. Mom said marriage is a massive commitment. He said he's ready as anyone can be. She has a beautiful daughter. Good work, by the way. And it was like, oh, no. It was, oh, no. And Sarova kind of looked at him like, I can't believe you said that. But when you look at it, if you go back and look frame by frame, the sister has that same expression for multiple times. So I think they recycled that at the wrong time. That's what I think with production. But I could be wrong. Mom and sister, though, at some point look over to Sarova, looking judgy, like this is who you brought home. There was moments where they look at her like, this is on you. This is your man, Sarova? He mentions his traditional jacket to propose, and the sister's like, this is all surreal that you brought that and you're wearing your Pakistani, jacket to propose to an Indian girl. And I was like, Sarova, did you not prep this man? Or did you prep him and he forgot the whole prep? Because that too, I believe. Did you not prep Cal to meet your family? Or Cal, did you forget the entire spiel you were supposed to give? The song is, Can You Feel the Fear Over Me? I can feel it through the TV. Cal is fearful. So we go back to Katisha and her mom. She said, hey, he seems like a nice boy. She said they're working on the communication. She does not express herself much. and he has been holding back, and that's where the difficulties are. She said, how could she communicate better with him because she is struggling? Mom says, hey, it doesn't hurt to let them remember the prize they won. So she's like, it doesn't hurt to let him know who you are and express yourself. We go back to Sarova and Cal because we left them shaken. Sarova says she's overwhelmed by the communication. Mom is like, I'm a mom though. She's like, trust me. I've never done anything like this before. I've never gone off the rails before. Do you not trust me? This is real. This is us. You've got to trust it. She's like, hey, outing their relationship is a first. She said this is a relationship first for her and for him. She's dated with her head and not with the personality of the person. Cal said they're similar, they're close to family, they have faith, they have a good chance and a good foundation. Sarova said they balance each other out. Mom said, you are confident in how you're talking about my daughter. This is massive and it gives her reassurance. Mom says he seems solid, he's impressing her. Mom said, you make my daughter happy. That's all I want. She takes their hands and gives them her blessing. Sarova says it feels perfect to have family on board. Mom can be, with the wedding planner, she can step away and Mama could do it all. This song is I Wanna Fall With You. 9 days to the wedding. Bardha and Jed, they go to his house. He carries her over the threshold. She likes his house. It's minimalistic. It needs a woman's touch. And he's never brought a girl home. His family comes. His mom and dad, they bring lunch. And, Bardha tells about the experience, how it's so easy to talk to him. It's so natural. Mama worries about the speed. Okay? Because everything is so exciting. Everything is like a holiday. Dad said, hey, he is positive. If Jed makes you happy and you make him happy, that's important. Mom said all marriages are a leap of faith. 8 weeks versus 8 years. Mom said it's not normal to not have an argument at this point. Bada said she won't let it get to arguments. She's an even-keeled person. Mom says people split after a few years. Mom is just like, have you considered this? Have you thought of this? Dad is there like, chill. This is their life, their marriage. She said, Bardha says she doesn't take marriage lightly. Her parents have been married just as long as Jed's parents. So Mom said, if you're really happy, the risk is hard work and wedding is just the beginning. Jed said it's normal for his mom to have questions, but he has a lot of love for Bardha. Now Megan talks to Katisha. I was like, ooh, this is the preliminary bout. She needs to tell her, but she doesn't know how Katisha is going to take it. Katisha said, hey, we talked about it. Megan's like, I didn't appreciate how he was acting. And he took Sophie to a photo booth. They were chatting a lot. Katisha's like, what the? Why would you chat in a photo booth? Megan is asking. He kept on laughing, saying it was nothing. Then he moved on to Yolanda and then to Anu. All of them saying, everybody saw him and what he was doing. She said, ask anyone who was there. He was hanging out with the girls when he could have been hanging out more with the boys. So Javin had said, Yolanda and Anu make me happy. Katisha makes me happy. So Megan said he's not acting like a fiance. Katisha is shaking. Okay. He said to her, you acting like you don't know my character, because he would never do anything like that. He did the same thing like her ex. She came here to get married. Okay. He came here to get married too, not to chase tail. She thought she was a bad guy and he played on that. Megan said, hey, he doesn't deserve you. She said, she doesn't get it. They're engaged. He thought he could get away with it. Only one person should make him happy. And she's not going to let another boy ruin her life. She goes back home and Katisha is packing. He walks in and she asks him about Sophie and Yolanda and Sophie in the photo booth. Javin's like, what? What? And I'm like, are you thinking of excuses, Javin? So Katisha's like, why the photo booth? He's like, that's where they ended up arguing. He said, ask anyone. The photo booth was open. Was it? Katisha tells him what Megan said, and he said all the guys were there. He's not denying making a move on the women. He is just deflecting. Javin, deflect, deflect, deflect. Then he says, she's lying. I don't know what she's talking about. Javin is confused because, Katisha has been fed misinformation. There was no funny business. Katisha said, hey, Megan has no reason to lie. He's like, you think I'm getting with them? He doesn't deny his behavior. He said, Megan is lying. Do you think I'm getting with them? You don't deny it. You don't deny it flat out. Katisha says she doesn't know. Her head is all over the place. They have a strong connection, but Megan has no reason to lie. So the song is Say No When I Say Yes. Cal and Sarova, they affirm each other over dinner that they are a team. They trust each other, okay? He thought that the apartment living was going to be the toughest. He's never lived with a girl before, and when he spent extensive time with a girl, it made him uncomfortable. Now, Sarova says she's glad she didn't know that because she may have given him more space because of that. But he's like, he does not need space. They are good where they are. So he says that she brings out the best in him and accepts him the way he is. The song is I'll Be Your Light. Katisha and Javin, she is writing him a letter on the table. This is what the letter says. It says, I truly wanted this to work. We are obviously more than our mistakes, but I cannot marry potential. I'm so sorry. Wish you all the best. Katisha says she has no desire to ever see Javin again. I said, what happened? What happened that confirmed to you that Javin was lying? What happened? She says she's been here before and she's taken back a cheetah and she won't make the same mistakes again. The song is Not That I Can't Decide If I Want You. Katisha says she is relieved that he showed who he is now. She left her ring and the letter on the counter. She says she can leave now controlling the outcome, and she would be crying more if she stayed. There's a thing in the back of her mind that she didn't listen to. She wanted a happy ending with someone, but this was just not the right path. Now Javin comes home, finds the note and the ring. He rips the note up after reading it, throws it away. He is pissed off. It seems Katisha believed what Megan said over him, and Megan told her lies. He knows what happened, and he has others on his side. He wants to hash it out with Kieran and Megan to see what the real truth is. What real truth, Javin? There's truth and there's truth. What real truth? The Javin truth? What are we talking about? It's 8 days until the wedding. Kieran is very conscious that, she doesn't say, I love you back, because he said, I love you. And he's walking away and he's like, wait a minute, you're supposed to say it back. I wonder if that's going to start grating Megan's nerves. So Javin talks to Patrick on the phone, tells him all, say, hey, Megan said I spent 2-3 hours with the ladies. Patrick's like, no, there were other people there. That's not true. Obviously, Patrick, he did not spend a whole time with those ladies. It is semantics to make what Megan said into a lie or a fib. Why are we listening to Patrick? Patrick's spleen ain't really speaking right now. Patrick said if she listened to Megan, then she values other people's opinion over your own. Believe in yourself, and you have been true and honest. Nothing to make him feel low vibrational. And Javin is like, Patrick, you really know how to make a man feel good. No, he really knows how to make you feel like you have not lied. So Ashley and Billy, they go for a dunk in a lock. She's excited to spend time with him. He said he wants to jump in, but he wants to be realistic in the relationship. He's torn. He is 50-50. She was not expecting that. He said it's scary that this may perish because of her job. She said, but I see this working. He said they never cemented it. She's like, wait a minute, we had this conversation. So this is my issue with you, Billy. She's talked about it. We heard her state the plan. We heard her say she's going to go ground crew. She has to just finish out her contract. She is going to be done with her job so she can be here to have a family and have a marriage. We heard her. What is in your mind, Billy, that you heard? She said it hard hearing it from him that it could be a no. He said, he's jumping in regardless because it could be a no from her as well. Ashley was like, it is a yes from me. It is a total yes. Don't even come with that saying I could be a no. So she cries in her confessional. She said her chest hurts. She says she's willing to adapt to make this work, but being told she's not good enough, she's been told that before, and she wants to be good enough for Billy. She thought she was good enough for Billy. and the job getting in the way is frustrating. She said this time she is not letting the job be a negative in her relationship. Billy says it's not a no, but he's got to look at all angles. The song is You're Slipping Away. Now here's the main event. Kieran, Megan with Javin. Javin called them for a chat. Javin wants to clear his name, he said. Javin says Katisha is not here because of what Megan told her, and he wants to dissect what Megan told her. Not these half-truths. I was like, oh, you big and bad now. Okay. Megan said all she saw was him with Sophie, Yolanda, and Anu. He's like, so you never saw me with Patrick? She's like, no, I didn't. But I'm not here to watch you all night. See, it's not factual. You weren't watching me all night, so you didn't know what I was doing all night. She said, it's not the amount of time. He's like, it does matter. If you say it or insinuate something that is not true, it's a lie. She's like, I didn't insinuate anything. I told the facts of what I saw when I looked over every time you were with a woman. So Javin is like, when he came in, he was arguing with Sophie. Didn't you see that? She's like, it didn't look like an argument. He's like, but we went into the photo booth, because I didn't want to argue on the dance floor. She's like, it didn't look like no argument. He's like, your perception is wrong. The photo booth didn't even have a curtain to close or hide. Kieran steps in and said, yes. I saw you go into the photo booth and the curtain was closed. Javin, there was no curtain. Kieran's like, there was a curtain. Now, y'all, Kieran was real calm. And he was just staring at Javin. Real calm. Because he knew what he saw. And he was backing up Megan because he saw the same thing. He said, if you think I'm stupid enough, I don't even know what you're insinuating. Still no denial, Javin. Still no denial. Now you're like, if you're insinuating, that's a player move because you don't want to self-incriminate. I'm watching and hearing everything you're saying. Kieran said we both saw it. It's not bull. It is bull. It is bull to say that I was with her all night. Kieran is like, that's semantics. Megan is like, you were all over Yolanda and Anu. And Sophie is someone that you would F, you said, and then you would leave her. I never said that. Megan's like, mate, you did. I don't know if Javin doesn't remember what he said, but again, here are two people telling him this is what he said. Megan said, I saw what I saw, and you're mad at it. I just told Katisha what I saw because she deserved to know. He's like, I already told her. She's like, then what is the issue? My only concern with this argument, because Megan was very animated. And Kieran tried to tell her, hey, Megan, let me handle this. And she didn't kind of chill and let Kieran handle it. Unless she did, and it was kind of, casted. But the few times Kieran would look to her, I wondered, is he going to look at Megan different for having an argument like this? Like, she wasn't getting into Javin's face, but she was very animated in that argument. I wonder. That's just one thing I would say for that couple. So Megan said, I don't care if he denies it, but it's what I saw. He said, you are talking and you are lying about this. Megan says she don't care if he denies it, but it's what she saw. Javin is like, you're talking, you lied about all of this. She's like, see you never, Javin. Okay? Have a life. You boop, boop. She was like, F and the P word. I was like, Megan is real hot. Megan says, she's had many arguments with people like Javin who like to deflect and turn the argument over. He knows what he did, and so she agrees to disagree. Javin does apologize to Kieran for making Megan cry, but he wanted to say where he stood. Javin said, you call people out and they don't want to face the facts. What facts, Javin? What facts? Because Kieran is sitting there politely telling you, I saw the curtain. The curtain was closed. You went in with Sophie. So Kieran, you're focusing on saying Megan lied. Now Kieran is in your face saying the same thing, and you're not saying he's lying. Interesting. But you're telling the camera people don't want, face facts. You don't want to face the fact. Camera people, I was hoping y'all would show us the photo booth with the curtain. I was waiting for that. I was like, I need to see that. Reunion, I need to see the photo booth with the curtain. Please. So Kieran goes outside then and hugs Megan. And he's like, hey, you did right by your friend. And Javin said it was easiest to just stay home that night. He still feels strong about Katisha, and they've come too far to just not talk and to reaffirm, how he feels. He feels they cannot communicate effectively at this stage, then they should not be getting married. And that is the end of episode 8. I thank you all for being here, and I hope to see you next week for the weddings. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel.